Shalom, giving all praise to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachahakwarash. Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone who rule well. And as always, we give peace and salutations unto the elect. And I wanted to do a lesson on this article that was sent to me by the beloved brother Shalomah. His YouTube handle is GMS Watchman. The title of the article, which this is a PDF, and I'll put it in the description box because it's a lot of information and we're not going to be able to get through all of it. However, we will skim through some of it so that we can get some edification. Now, the title is Androgyny, okay? And we're going to look up the meaning of androgyny, European royalty in the war on gender. Now, we know the original Europeans are not the biblical Edomites, all right, but a Japhetic people. And the Europeans were raided, okay, just like all other nations were raided, and their identity was stolen by the biblical Edomites. The Edomites are not the original Europeans, okay? However, they took that name and placed it upon themselves amongst many other names to hide their true identity, okay? Now, if you look at the current vibration of the world, you clearly see that androgyny is at the forefront of what they're pushing for this new world order. Now, let's look up the term androgyny. And here we go. Androgyny, as you can see, pictures of particular women, all right, but they look like men. And who knows, they could be men. It says androgyny is a combination of masculine and feminine characteristics into an ambiguous form. Androgyny may be expressed with regard to biological sex, gender identity, gender expression, or gender identity. When androgyny refers to mixed biological sex characteristics in humans, it often refers to intersex people. All right. Now, ironically, when you look up this whole Black Lives Matter fiasco, okay, at the forefront of what they're pushing is this whole androgyny demon, okay? And when you go to blacklivesmatter.com and you can type in what we believe, okay, all you have to do is just read through and you can see that trans, okay, and everything else that is against the Most High God's plan, okay, is at the forefront of it, okay? It says, as a matter of fact, I'll just type in trans and you'll see that it's at the forefront. It says, we make space for transgender brothers and sisters to participate and lead. Okay, we are self-reflective and do the work required to dismantle cisgender privilege and uplift black trans folk, especially black trans women who continue to be disproportionately impacted by trans antagonistic violence. Okay, and as you read down, they're seeking to dismantle the patriarchal practice. What is a patriarchal practice? With the father being the head. Okay, and the only way to get a child is through sex between a male and a female, with the father being the head. But they're dismantling basically the scriptures. They're dismantling the foundation of life. Okay, and that's what Black Lives Matter ultimately is all about. Okay, now I didn't want to make this lesson about that, but that's good to bring out so that you can know, all right, because our people are following things blindly, not understanding the witchcraft, okay, and ancient gods and goddesses that are tied to everything that's happening. Even that new Nicki Minaj and I forget the chick name, Megan Thee Stallion video. Okay, it's all filled with all sorts of gods and goddesses and different witchcraft, okay, to evoke and push out demons, because the New World Order is ultimately Satan's kingdom being set up on earth. Now, we got the definition of an androgyny, okay, and this article is by Jeremy James, okay? So there is a war on gender, and if you look out into the earth, okay, you can clearly see where this world is headed. Okay, where straight men in specific will be the enemy and are the enemy. Black Lives Matter is headed by three lesbians, and they hate straight black men. Okay, you're the enemy. Okay, that's why you see more Edomites than anything in those marches, because they will always aid you in your destruction. They will always aid you in rebelling against Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, but they will never aid you, okay, in truth and sincerity, all right, to come unto your own and be at one with your power. Now, it says most readers will be familiar with the letters LGBTQ, which the Q was added, all right, because basically queer, pedophiles, and everything else are now being normalized and looked at as an okay practice. This is the world that we're living in, which is why they're reading to your children. And you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans have nothing to say to us, because you've allowed all of these things to happen right under your nose, and you ain't say a goddamn thing. I was just looking at an interview, and a brother sent me of these guys, some rappers, I forget their names. You know, they go back, and they were asked about Mr. C, who's a New York DJ. They were asked about, how they felt about him, being caught and then finally admitting to picking up trannies. And they were like, man, we don't care. That's what he want to do, yada, yada. That's love. You love who you want. If you want to love a horse, you can love a horse. African Bambaataa. Okay, major men have come out to say that this guy molested them. Okay, yet all of these things are swept under the rug. So you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans have nothing to say to us. Okay, because you all a bunch of anti-messiahs. Okay, it says this acronym is frequently used by the radical homosexual lobby in Europe and America to designate both the sexual status of their members and the legitimacy of their cause. Okay, and what you're going to find out is this whole vibration goes all the way back to ancient Sumeria, which is Babylon, which is why America is called Babylon the Great. You see, we are addressing not just, all right, moles, all right, and moles are these people here, and gender fluidity, but the ancient pagan philosophy on which they are based. All right, and that's what ultimately I'm going to get into as brief as possible, because everything that you see happening is a result of something that already happened, which the scriptures say that which is then is now. There's nothing new under the sun. And a lot of people that you see on TV that you think are men are actually women, and a lot of people that are being presented as women are actually men. And this is a part of the magic and the witchcraft that's going on in this world, man. Okay, it says the way of contemporary practitioners of this ancient philosophy are using androgyny to undermine what it says Christianity. Now, ironically, when you go into Christianity, they're all based upon ancient Babylonian, okay, Sumerian, Egyptian, Assyrian, okay, Greek, Roman gods, right? So Christianity is not the truth. All right, but you have particular Christians who do see and expose things. Okay, but they're in their folly, because Christianity itself is based upon all of those different idols, man, which is why you celebrate Christmas, which is a Babylonian custom dealing with Nimrod, Semiramis, and Tammuz. Okay, which has nothing to do with the Holy Scriptures, but everything to do with the perversion and wickedness that you see being promoted all throughout the earth. All right, now it says biblical gender. The Bible tells us that when God made the creatures on the earth, he made them male and female. You see, but the rebellion of witchcraft and Satanism, okay, and this fake false light of Lucifer is to undermine male and female and say that there are more genders than one. This is their so-called light. Okay, and they're even doing it to the animals. Okay, the Genesis 5:2, male and female created he them and blessed them and called their name Adam in the day when they were created. Now we're gonna just go through a little bit of this. the Addams family. Satan hates all that God has created. Okay, he was created, okay, to be anti-Messiah. Okay, everything that is right is through Yahushai in righteousness, and everything that will be wicked would be through Satan. Just as you watch any movie, okay, it's only good when there's a good and a bad. Okay. Well, that's how the Most High wrote this movie. There's a negative side through Satan, and there's a positive side through Yahushai. Okay, without wickedness, we couldn't understand, all right, the importance of righteousness. Without hot, you wouldn't understand what cold was, or vice versa. Okay, so evil and good were made for the purpose of the Most High story, man. Okay. It says Satan hates, as Satan, all that God created, and he hates man and woman most of all. Okay, which is why you see in this modern Babylon the Great, men and women are at each other's necks. It's nothing but marches, women marching against men, and you have the men going their own way, tired of the women. Okay, which is a very satanic way of life, man. All right, because these women are under the influence of Satan and all of these different gods and goddesses of the ancient world that gives them freedom to be absolute whores and demons. And we'll show you all of that. Okay. Which a lot of them are finding out that it's proven to be destructive to their well-being, and they want to come back. Okay. But a lot of them are still following after this way unto their own destruction, man. Thus that Nicki Minaj, Megan Thee Stallion video, to basically evoke and push those demons out there, man. Because this is a spiritual war. He said he hates family, marriage, all right, natural childbearing. Even the way that children are born is out of order. Okay, they immediately, even the mother laying on her back, that's off. Okay, but immediately the child is born, the way they cut the umbilical cord as fast as they do. Okay, the needles and medicines they start putting in the children, the formula they put the child on, they don't want the breast milk. All of these things are satanic practices, man. Okay, we're literally living in Babylon, and we'll show you. If one is to understand what androgyny is all about, then one must see why it matters so much to Satan. Okay, androgyny. We looked up the definition, but we'll read a little bit here. Androgyny normally relates to the mixture or blending of masculine and feminine traits. You see that? So basically, as we already showed you, androgyny is basically the mixture of male and female, which in the scriptures you have male and you have female. But in this society, like Alicia Keys, she's raising her son up to, all right, partake in female practices, painting his nails and putting on dresses. Dwayne Wade, you see all of these practices happening right here, but they go back to ancient Babylon, man. Okay. Now, let's see, androgyny and magic. You can read these things on your own. Let's real quick go here to the backgrounds and roots of androgyny. Okay, the background and roots of androgyny. Okay, Ishtar. All right. Now, Ishtar is where you get Easter. Okay, and Ishtar, all right, was a dual gendered goddess. Okay, Ishtar or Asharte was Babylonian, Assyrian, and Sumerian goddess of fertility, war, love, and sex. See, when sex is polluted, okay, and when you start to get confused on what sex is, man, then pretty much that opens up portals for all manner of demons to enter into you and your culture, man. And it becomes a big mess. And what is black culture and all of these different cultures of this world? A mess. Okay, Ishtar has been described as androgyny, as an androgynous, all right, who has a man's beard and who was as the evening star as a woman and as the morning star as a man. See that? Morning star as a man, which is why when you get Isaiah the 14th chapter, speaking of the priesthood of this world, who liken themselves to the illuminated ones, or the Illuminati, which basically means the bearers of the light, which we found out that their light is truly darkness. Their light, okay, is all manner of rebellion against the righteous light, which is of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, the son of the morning? And what you're going to find out is the priesthood of this world, okay, are all about dual gendered, okay, and androgyny, which is why they worship Baphomet. Okay, when you look up Baphomet, as a matter of fact, we can just look him up real quick. Baphomet, which is also known as Lucifist, as you see here, but we'll just look up a picture of him. Okay, he's both Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga is all into this. Okay, but Baphomet is basically a dual gender goat. Okay, a dual gender goat. Okay, which this goes back to ancient practices. But he has breast. Okay, but he's a man as well. So it's a dual gendered demon, and you can see the staff of Asclepius, their medicine, everything that they do is in rebellion against the Heavenly Father. All right. And in research, I found out that another name for Baphomet is Lucifist, which in ancient Egypt was known as what? The goat of Mendes. All right. Or by this name, Baned Jed. All right. All right, which is tied to Osiris. All of these things are push the vibration of this world. When you see your celebrities throwing up the horn hand, okay, the Pope throwing up the horn hand, okay, this is what they're down with. Okay, this is why this is spiritually Sodom and Egypt when you read Revelation, the 11th chapter. Okay. During the late period, talking of Egypt, this god was referred to as the goat of Mendes by the Greeks, who mispronounced the phrase Ba-neb-genedect, ram, lord. Okay, and it's always dealing with the horns, man. And named the city Mendes. The goat of Mendes has been linked by some esoteric scholars to Baphomet, the false god of the Templars, all right, that the Templars were actually worshipped and transformed into a satanic stereotype by others. Okay, the only slight problem with this is that Ban-Abjebdet was not a goat but a ram. All right, but they dealing with those horns. It's the same thing, all right, but hidden under different names and gods, man. And this is how different gods have been passed down throughout history, because today is Jesus Christ. Okay, today is Jesus Christ, which is why when you get the scriptures, another reason why, and we'll show you and we'll link it all in just a minute. But when you get Revelation, the 13th chapter, it tells you in verse 11, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb. Okay, and he spake as a dragon. Okay, because a lamb represents what? Innocence, as if there's something there to help you, but ultimately it's anti-Messiah. And they've replaced the true Messiah with this pseudo Messiah dealing with their medicine. That's why Baphomet, as you saw, okay, going right back to him, Baphomet, I just put him up on the screen. He has that bring him up right here. He has the medical, okay, what they use for their medical field. Let's see if I can bring it up. There we go. So you can see they have that staff of Asclepius, which deals with their medicine. Okay, this is actually the symbol of who as well. the World Health Organization. They're all satanic. This nigga got a tattoo, the coagula. Okay, but he has two horns like a lamb, but really this is what this is the true image of it. Okay. So reading back here, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? And this is speaking of the wicked, okay, priesthood of this world, man. Which their light, according to the scriptures, is darkness, man. Job 10:22, a land of darkness as darkness itself, and of the shadow of death without any order. There's no order here. They're about disorder. The scriptures deals with order. You see, where the light is as darkness. So their light is truly darkness. Their right hand is the right hand of falsehood, according to Psalms 144:11, man. So this word Lucifer, a lot of people get bugged out about it. All right, it's truly Hayalal, okay, which basically light bearer. But when you go down, describing the king of Babylon, okay, because they would promote themselves in the earth as the true light that will save and guide humanity into righteousness. But really, it's guiding humanity into wickedness. And look at the state of the world under, okay, this false light. Okay, now let's go back to where we were. Okay, so Ishtar, which when you go into the scriptures, I just typed in, what does the Bible say about Ishtar? All right. Now, this is the ESV. I don't know how to change it to King James, but basically you find out that Ishtar and the queen of heaven, Ilnana, was worshipped in ancient Babylon by our people. Okay. The queen of heaven, which is where the Catholic Church and all of them bow to. Okay, but you can see that in Canaan, okay, because before that's where Canaan and basically got their gods, ancient Mesopotamia and Babylon. But you can see clearly that this was a god that was worshipped by our people, all right, that constantly plagued us. Okay, it's even linked to Revelation, the 18th chapter, 1 through 24, which deals with the daughter of Babylon, which is America, Babylon the Great. So this is a god / goddess, okay, that has plagued our people, all right, even in ancient Babylon, okay, even going back, all right, before that to the, time of Nimrod, man. This is what he was pushing, okay. It says Babylon, in ancient Babylon, they believed that God was an androgyne. See that? At the same, a man and a woman. Now the scriptures tell you the Most High is a man of war. You see, and you got particular Israelites try to creep that madness into the doctrine, saying that the Most High is half man, half woman. You see that? But that's an androgynous god / goddess, man, which this vibration is being pushed upon the people, man, upon the children. And that at first Adam was created as androgyny. Okay, Adam / Kadam. Says some Jewish Kabbalists, rabbis adopted Babylonian teaching. Okay, that at first Adam was androgyny, and the so-called, all right, or the 1948ers, this is what they practice in that Talmud. Okay, this is what they truly believe in. Okay. It says, let's see, from Babylon, the doctrine about androgyny spread out elsewhere. And for instance, Gnosticism taught that Adam was created at first as light body. Spirit, he was called Adam Kadam, heavenly Adam. They believed that Adam Kadam was not a man, but an androgyny, male and female person who over time fascinated from the matter of incarnation as the flesh. All right. According to Gnostic doctrine, Adam, the divine androgyne, all right, in his incarnation split up as two genders and became Adam and Eve. And this is what they teach. This is what all of this freakism that you see before you goes back to. And your beloved Black Lives Matter is pushing that heavily, man. Okay, they just your enemy funded Black Lives Matter. They'll always fund something to destroy you. You see, and they put black on it because they know you have a passion for being black, which is something they named you. So going back here, they're showing you, you know, androgynous practices in our people have always been a part of it, man. But Shiva, half male, half female, which is a god slash goddess of the Hindus, I believe. Okay, and you can read all of this. It's just going into particular gods and goddesses of particular cultures. It says the androgyny phenomenon. In an essay of this type, it is possible to consider only a small fragment of available evidence, but from what we have seen, the androgyny phenomenon across the world is characterized by the following: belief in a third gender, or in categories other than male and female, and they've taken it further. Now there's about 100+ genders, okay, or 40+, whatever. But there's only male and female. The simplicity in Hamashiach, it says the belief that this third gender does not emerge of itself, but must be consciously chosen. Yada, yada, yada. Let me see. Pseudoscience. Almost from the time that they were established, the amorphous discipline known as anthropology, sociology, and psychiatry have tried to disguise the true nature of androgyny, and that's these Edomites that are taught in these school systems as the fathers of thought, the fathers of science, the fathers of understanding humans. But they were all engulfed in these pagan practices, man. In the 19th century, it was often described as an exotic and colorful terms with little understanding of its submissive characteristic or a supernatural dimension. However, matters worsened considerably in the 20th century when Margaret Mead, Brian's Law, Malinowski, and others began to ascribe human morality to cultural conditioning. Okay, and then it goes into that, and you can read these things on your own. But this is Margaret Mead. This is a tranny. That's a man. Okay. Like many iconic figures in the feminist movement, Mead was undoubtedly MFT transgender. Okay, and that whole feminist movement was set up and funded by the Rockefellers. Okay, and who was at the forefront of who they used to spark that? Well, you had a lesbian named Gloria Steinem, but it was so-called black women. You see, you've been used and abused for years, man. Now it's time for your asses to wake up, but we know a lot of you, the majority of you, not, man. She had several lesbian relationships and was a mentor. And here it is, you turn yourself into a woman, but then you deal with women. This is the world we live in, man. And that same sentiment is all here in Babylon the Great in these modern days, man. Okay? And these are your so-called leaders and scientists. Okay? These are men that are being promoted as women, man. Hidden androgynies. You know, it's all hidden too. Okay? Now they're trying to go into the scriptures. And this is a good article. Read, Trannywood. In Hollywood, they push it heavily. All right? These are some queens of the, royal lineages of Esau in Europe, man, in different parts of the world. Queen, whatever, of Denmark, Margrethe of Denmark. That's a damn, that. Look at that. Queen Victoria Eugene of Spain. And you can clearly see that these are men. Okay? Clearly you can see that these are men. Princess Augustine of Bavaria. Clearly a man. And so forth. Goodness gracious. Get this nigga a cigarette. He'll fix every part of your car, okay, that you got. So this is the sick, perverted ways of this world, man. Okay? Queen Louise of Sweden. Look at this nigga here, boy. Princess Helen of Greece and Denmark. Men. These are all men. And you bet a lot of the people who you're seeing today as leaders, okay, a lot of them are transgender, man. Okay? Oh, man. Norway. Who uncle is this, man? Goodness gracious. But you can read, read that. You can read it. I'll put it, in the description. But let's go ahead and get some scriptures, man, to show you that these are ancient practices that are back. Because, as I said, let's get Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes 1:9. It says, "The thing that had been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun," man. Okay? And these are all practices that go back to ancient Mesopotamia and Babylon, okay, which is the mother of all of these religions and different vibrations that you see in the earth. When Nimrod, okay, was doing his thing, when he was naming his cities, one of the names of his cities indicated that he made many wide paths. Okay, and they also worshiped a god named Anu, which tortured children. So you can see all of these different vibrations back here today. Now, this is Nahum chapter 3 and 4. Okay, it says, "Because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcrafts, that selleth nations through her whoredoms and families through her witchcrafts," man. Now, this is speaking of ancient Nineveh, which was the capital city of Assyria, which is basically Babylon, right? But this is actually speaking of America as well in spirit. And let's look at what was happening here as Nahum was cursing this place out, man. Okay, I'm going to go to John Gill's exposition of the entire Bible, and we're just going to go to the commentary on that particular scripture. Okay, so let's see here. We'll just read here this highlighted part, and this is off of BibleHub.com. It says, "Sardanapalus, okay, the last and at this time present king of the Assyrians, was very effeminate." Don't we see that with the leaders of this world today? As a matter of fact, your beloved Donald Trump, okay, has a commercial where he's humping on some tranny, Giuliani, man. You can look that up on your own, okay? But we know that behind closed doors, they dress as women, they put on weird clothing, they sacrifice children and do all sorts of filth, okay? And it's attributed to all these different gods of the ancient world, man. When the scriptures say we're in Babylon, it's not just saying it in word. When the scriptures say spiritually Sodom and Egypt, it's not just saying it in word. The practices of those cultures are here today. And this is what you're up against. This is why we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but spiritual wickedness in high places, man. All right. The priesthood on the left-hand side, they commune with these different demons, okay, to aid them in pushing these things into the earth to set up Satan's kingdom. All right. But the water to the Most High God, Yahweh through Yahweh Shai, okay, that actually is in control of all of these things, man. And he's going to eventually put the left hand to a halt, okay, and establish the right hand in the earth, which is under Yahweh Shai, man. Sardanapalus, the last at this time, the present king of the Assyrians, was very effeminate, used to dress himself in women's clothes, which that's attributed to the goddess or god, the god or goddess, which it was dual gendered as well, Venus. Okay, he dressed in women's clothes, man. Okay, imitate a woman's voice and paint his face and even his whole body, and we just saw that. As a matter of fact, that practice. Okay, that practice, we saw it. Yep, right here. See. That looks like a Moabite or or a Ammonite or whatever, but ultimately this is what the leaders and rulers of this world do. And this is what they were doing at the time that Nahum was crying to the Heavenly Father to destroy Nineveh. Okay? It says, imitate a woman's voice and paint his face, even his whole body, and by other tricks and enticements of harlots made himself more lascivious. And this is what the leaders of this world do. What do you think they were doing on Epstein Island? Okay? The men and their women are vile, man, and behave more lewdly than any harlot, which is what you see happening right now. So Nahum saw what we see. You see that? This is the beauty of the book. We're doing what Nahum is doing. Nahum was cursing out ancient Nineveh, okay, and we're cursing out the modern Nineveh. There's nothing new under the sun. In short, all the Assyrian women must be harlots. You see that? And we can clearly see that with this whole my coochie, my choice. I didn't want to say the P word, but my choice. Amber Rose, the slut walk. Okay, this whole Cardi B. And as a matter of fact, let's look it up. Let's go to YouTube and just type it in. We don't have to look. We don't have to actually play the video, but what are they promoting? Cardi B and Megan Stallion, man. And when you listen to the lyrics, yeah. See that? Snakes all around. And when you listen to the lyrics, it's just promoting rebellion against ultimately the Most High and his son on the right-hand side. I'm not doing this. I'm not cooking. Basically, go be a hoe, live your life. This was the narrative of the ancient Babylonian Empire. Okay, which basically it was Assyria Babylonian Empire. It says, in short, all the Assyrian women must be harlots. Okay, and Sardanapalus, the last king, was very feminine. He was worse than any harlot. So the men were being bigger freaks than the women. And we see that today. Okay, all Assyrian women must be harlots, since they were obliged once in their lifetime to lie with the stranger in the temple of Venus. You see that? And this was the practice of ancient Babylon. In order for you to be deemed a woman, you would have to have a train ran on you, which is there's a particular god tied to orgies. All of these things have practices. When I went to college, I went to a black college, man. I hadn't seen that kind of wickedness. Now, California, where I'm from, is a wicked place, but I guess I was kind of, shielded from a lot of what was going on. Now in San Francisco, which is about 15 minutes away, we know that was pretty much at one point the Mo capital, and Mo is basically hoe. All right, Mo. You see, but until I got to college in the South is when I started to see and hear about, the train thing, Now, of course, it was happening in California, but I just wasn't open to it. I had never heard about it. But when I got to college, that was the number one practice amongst the women and the men. Okay, she's a runner. Let run a train. And there's an actual god, okay, tied to those practices. As a matter of fact, there's a god, Orgia, Dionysus. That's the name of the god, Dionysus. And I don't really like going to Wikipedia. I mean, it's decent for some things, but I prefer, Dionysus was the god of fertility and wine, later considered a patron of the arts. He, created wine and had a dual nature. He had a dual nature. On one hand, he brought joy and divisive ecstasy. He would bring, rage. Okay, but this is the god, all right, or goddess or whatever of orgies, Dionysus. Okay. And you can look up these different gods, but ultimately they're all back here today okay, packaged under some loving thing. And if the face looks like a woman, but ultimately this was that, god of revelry. And that was big in ancient Greek and Rome, man. And we know Jake, when they're scattered amongst the heathen, they pick up these practices, man. Okay? So you can clearly see this whole vibration of whoredom and, androgynous and everything else. It's back here today, okay? And it's being presented as art and love, right? Now, that's Nahum. And let's read it again. Because of Nahum 3 and 4, because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favored harlot. Okay, now Babylon the Great, okay, in the scriptures is known as what? Revelation 17 and 5, and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Okay, so all of those different practices are back here. So the women in ancient Assyria Babylonian Empire had to go and lay with a stranger in the temple of Venus, and also have orgies ran on them when you look it up and do deeper research. Okay, which the Venus, when you look up Venus, okay, it's basically a dual gender god. Okay, which the Canaanites followed after that, which is why in our law it teaches you that a woman shall not wear that which pertaineth to a man, and a man shall not wear that which pertaineth to a woman, because these are the different deities and demons that were being followed by the Canaanites. Okay, in which, as you can see, our people being mingled among the heathen, they do it now even worse than those demons, man. Okay, so the spirit of Baphomet is here in this earth, man. The spirit of these different gods and goddesses of the ancient world are here in this earth, and they run it. Okay, now, oh, and you can look up the bearded Venus. Okay, as you can see, it'll have a beard, but then it got breast. Okay, because that's ultimately a dual gendered practice. Okay, which, as I said, the Canaanites were all into that. But where did they get it from? Sumeria, okay? Babylon, the mother of all harlots, okay? Babylon the Great takes on all of these different ideologies and philosophies, man. Okay? So, going here to Jeremiah the 50th chapter real quick. Let me take down some of these things that I've already looked at. Okay, yep. Aphrodite's. Okay, which is basically where you get the term hermaphrodite. Okay, which is a person with a penis and a vagina. Well, that goes back to Aphrodite's and Hermes. Okay, Hermes and Aphrodite. Okay, Hermaphroditus, the two-sexed child of Aphrodite and Hermes, Venus and Mercury. See, so that Venus worship, which you got our people that's all into these things, man, is associated with these practices. And these things have power and precedence over people's minds and behavior. That's why the scriptures say in Babylon was found the souls of men. They are altering the souls of people through these different demons, man. Okay, had long been a symbol of androgyny or effeminacy. Okay, and was portrayed in Greco-Roman art as a female figure with male genitals. Okay, and you can clearly see that that's where this world is going. Okay, now going to Jeremiah, all right, which this letter was written to the captives that were at Babylon, and Jeremiah by the hand of Sariah, okay, as they went to go pay tribute to the Nebuchadnezzar, he gave this letter to give to the captives at Babylon, okay, that were captive, okay, because the Babylonians had took down the temple and took over, our land. Now, when you read this letter, this Babylon is not describing ancient Babylon and its destruction, but it's describing this modern day Babylon and its destruction. And the proof is in the pudding. It even mentions Esau and links their destruction to Sodom and Gomorrah. So this letter in a nutshell was actually written to you Israelites here in this modern day Babylon, okay, as well as the different captivities where we were pushed. This is Jeremiah 50:1. The word that Yahweh spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. Now, when you get Isaiah 47:1, it says, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. And how do you tie the daughter of Babylon to the Edomites? Psalms 137:7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, race it, even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. Okay, so the Edomites are the virgin daughter of Babylon. You see, that's how they will be repaid by the back by the Most High through his son. And eventually we will be joint heirs to get our hands on your asses once Yahweh Shai returns. So the daughter of Babylon in the scriptures is linked to the modern day Edomites. The Edomites run the modern daughter of Babylon. Now, when you read it, it says, come down and sit in the dust, Isaiah 47:1. O virgin daughter of Babylon, sit on the ground, meaning you're being brought into the dust. All right. Now, the serpent was told, okay, the serpent was told that basically all the days of your life, you're going to be dust. You're going to, eat dust, meaning you will be the lowest creature of the low. You will be the lowest of all of the different nations, right? But the Lord has exalted that lowly base person to be the ruler of the final kingdom that would lead into the kingdom of heaven, which is Babylon the Great. It has to fall in order for the kingdom of heaven to be set up. So your ass is going back to the dust where you belong. Okay, sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. You see that? Daughter of the Chaldeans. And who were the Chaldeans? The modern witches and priesthood of the ancient Neo-Babylonian Empire. And they are back here today in the form of the Rothschilds and the different elites that run and guide the influence of this world. Thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. And as you read down, it even says that they shall be as stubble, which is the same promise that's coming to Esau. Stand now with your enchantments. Okay, and these are your enchantments. This is a part of your enchantments. Okay, it's a goddamn shame, man. Look at this madness. You got animals in the room. This is basically the goddess Kali, who always had her tongue stuck out, which you see them sticking their tongue out at various times in this video, man. This is madness. But this is art. This is modern day art, and these were all hoes. They said these are the hoes. These were hoes because this is the vibe. But going back, where I was in Jeremiah 50:1, the word that Yahweh spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. Declare ye among the nations, and publish and set up a standard. Publish and conceal not. So we're not supposed to conceal this word. Okay, we're supposed to publish this word. We're supposed to publish these things. Okay, Babylon is taken. Baal is confounded. Meredoch is broken in pieces. Her idols are confounded. Her images are broken. Now let's look up Meredoch. Let's look it up here first. And Baal, all right, which is Baal, which is the Satan, basically, man. Now Meredoch, okay. Thy rebellion. See that? What was Nimrod's name? Rebellion. And this is double rebellion here. All right, in Babylon the Great, it says the chief deity of the Babylonians in the time of Nebuchadnezzar. So let's get a little history on this Meredoch character. Okay, now I'm not going to go too deep into it, but history and character. Meredoch literally means bull calf of the sun. Bull calf of the sun. The golden calf that our people have been plagued with since Egypt, even going back here to Babylon at the time of Nimrod. Although this is speaking of at the time of Nebuchadnezzar. At that time, the god was Anu at the time of Nimrod, but it's pretty much the same thing as I go into study and research. Marduk means what? Calf of the sun. This Jesus Christ that you all are worshiping is ultimately this calf. Okay, that calf worship, that golden calf, all right, that led the Israelites to doing all sorts of illicit and wicked practices. Okay, the god of Christianity is basically Zeus, which Marduk, ironically, is tied to Baal and Zeus. And we'll get that in just a minute. Okay, I have this one here. Marduk, the patron god of Babylon, the Babylonian king of the gods, who presided over justice, compassion, healing, regeneration, magic, and fairness. Okay, it was all backwards, man. Okay. When you go here, he's known as the bull calf. Okay, the bull calf, man, which our people have been worshiping these things. I believe, was it Jeroboam entered this worship, man. Okay, let's see this here. Let me see here. I know it's in the book of Kings. Or Second Chronicles. And who's this speaking of? Jeroboam. See that? Jeroboam. Okay, which was the first king over the northern kingdom after the split of Solomon. He promoted this practice in this new priesthood. He did away with the Levitical priesthood. He implemented this new priesthood, which is basically to modern day Christianity. Okay, child sacrifice and all of these different things. But it says he ordained them, 2 Chronicles 11 and 15, and he ordained him priests for the high places and for the devils and for the calves which he made. See, Jesus Christ is that calf, that that devil, man, that has plagued you all. Okay, that word for devils is Shayar. Okay, it says Harry. We already thinking, right? He-goat was not Alexander or Antiochus in one of those chapters in Daniel known as the he-goat. Okay, a sacrificial animal, which ain't that what Jesus Christ is on the left-hand side. Satire may be referred to a demon-possessed goat-like swine of Gadara. Okay, so this Marduk that is spoken of in the book of Jeremiah, when he's talking about Babylon the Great being destroyed, and he wrote that letter to us, that's what Marduk is. It's that ancient calf, devil worship, okay, which has plagued you Israelites unto this day. Okay, and you see how the northern kingdom, the so-called Hispanics, Latinos, Native American, they're all into different idol worship. That started, you know, even going back, but with Jeroboam, man. He pushed that heavy amongst you, you Jakes. Now, I had a few other things. Marduk, called Enki and Sumerian myths, the creator, basically the father of all of these different gods. And Anu was his name, okay, before it was changed. Okay, and as you can see that those two horns are there. Okay, now I looked up, okay, 52 queer gods that ruled ancient history. And there's a lot of them in Greek mythology, but where did they get it all from? See, they start with the Greeks, but ultimately the Greeks were not the first to do these things. They got their gods from ancient Egypt and Babylon and Mesopotamia, which is Babylon. Okay? It says these LGBT Greek gods and demigods. See, they want to put the Greeks as the first, but it all goes back to those Hamites, man. These LGBT Greek gods and demigods prove gay culture is no modern invention. Achilles, but Zeus, which this is basically tied to Jesus, Zeus. Okay. While a famous philander who sired countless demigods by every peasant girl in need of explanation to her parents, Zeus famously selected the young mortal Ganymede to service as his cupbearer in Mount Olympus, Olympics and all of that stuff. This thing goes deep. The relationship provided the foundation of the custom of pedestria or paiderastia, the practice of Greek men at the time maintaining erotic relationships with adolescent boys on the side above Zeus and Ganymede. Okay, and there you go. Zeus. Now, Zeus, as I was doing a little research, let me see here. I had to go to Wikipedia. Belus, all right, Belus or Belos, which is Bel, okay, in a Babylonian context refers to a Babylonian god Baal Marduk, though often identified with Greek Zeus and Latin Jupiter. So Jesus is Zeus, which ultimately in this time, at the time of Jeremiah, he was forewarning of the destruction of Marduk. And you could even just type in Jesus and Zeus. But Baal, Marduk. Now, what does it say here? Baal and Marduk were tied to the worship of Zeus. Okay? Zeus got its origins from ancient god, the ancient god Marduk or Baal. What does it say here? Declare ye among the nations and publish and set up a standard. Publish and conceal not. Say Babylon is taken. Baal is confounded. Baal, man, a chief Babylonian deity, Lord. Okay, you see that? And you can just type in Jesus, Zeus. And a lot of people try to debunk it. Okay, but it really is, man. Okay, and you can look that up on your own time. But Jesus is basically Zeus. All right, basically the so-called church fathers, which were they basically implemented all of these different idols. That's what Constantine did to appease to everybody. He incorporated all of these different idols. Okay. And they needed a God that all can agree on, man. Zeus and Jesus Christ. So Jeremiah, when he's talking about Marduk, he's really talking about this Jesus Christ character that you all are following. He ain't talking about the Messiah of the Bible. Okay? Because the Messiah of the Bible is prophesied to come. Okay? But this false Messiah that they've replaced, that promotes all of this pedophilia, all of these child sacrifice, all of this whore-like culture, all of this wickedness, is not the God of the Bible or his son, man. That's why he's called the calf of the sun. It's sun worship. It is possible that is it possible that Zeus and Jesus are the same? A significant number of historians are starting to believe that the name Jesus actually derived from the Greek name Zeus instead of the once believed Jewish name Jehovah or Yahweh. Let's see here. And it can go through the different, let's get to the connection. Let's see. the name Jesus had only existed around 400 years. This is because before then, the letter J did not exist. You see? In literature and scripture, before the introduction of the letter J, the figure was known, all right, that known as Jesus was referred to as Iosis. But we know his name is Yahushai. He had a Hebrew name. He wasn't a Greek. He even said his name in the Hebrew tongue. You see, because you have documentaries like Zeitgeist, which basically their argument is that Christianity, stole stories from ancient religions, and it did. But the thing is, the Bible speaks out against Christianity. It speaks out against the practices of Babylon, the practices of Egypt, and tells you that they're bad. So that's all a sham. You all don't know what the hell you're talking about. Christianity has nothing to do with the Bible, man. Okay? Isis can actually be seen in the original King James Bible. The name Isis itself is modernized and westernized version of Asus, which literally translates to Hail Zeus. And you can do research on these things, Before the origination of Christianity, those of Greco-Roman persuasion were against any and all Jewish influences. It is believed that when it came time for the rise of Christianity, the Greeks would only accept a new god if he was modeled after the heavenly worship in already established Zeus. And that's what Constantine did, which he was a Jake and he was wicked. Go and do the history, man. They basically had to come up with a god that would be acceptable to all of the pagans, and they incorporated him into the Bible. But we know the true Messiah of the Bible is that star spoken of in the Holy Scripture, Shiloh. Okay, he who would sit on the throne of David, man. So this Zeus character, you can, this all happened through the spirit. But that's Zeus, and this is, which Serapis Christus, all right, who was tied to a goat. Okay. He was known as a goat too, in other, myths and things. This is all this is, man. Serapis Christus, that's who Jesus Christ is, man. Which ultimately is Zeus, Marduk, and all of these different gods of the ancient world that have nothing to do with the Bible, man. So you can look that up, but we do know that Jeremiah, and this is the only time Marduk is mentioned, okay, in the Bible by this name, okay, although it's mentioned by other names. Nowhere else, just Jeremiah 50:2. But he's speaking of this modern day Babylon because that would be the god or the energy that pushed the wickedness that's going on in this world. So Baal is confounded. Meredoch is broken into pieces, man. Okay. And as we showed you here, Belus, which is a Babylonian god, in later time was identified with the Greek Zeus and the Latin Jupiter as Zeus Belos or Jupiter Belos. In other cases, Belus, all right, is an ancient king who founded Babylon and built Ziggurat. He is recognized and worshipped as the god of war. All right, but it comes with also much. So at the end of the day, this place is wicked. Okay, and the spirit of androgyny and all of these different gods are back here today, hidden under things that our people follow dearly as something that's going to help them, man. So with that, hopefully I will edify to know it was a lot. Shalom. Giving all praise to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Bashim Rachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone. Death to to Babylon the Great, all right, and death to Marduk and Baal and all of these wicked idols, okay, that run this world and got all this wickedness going on. Shalom.